Growing up, people have always told me how unbothered I was. They'll always be like, oh, you must have read the book, this book right here. Like, I remember I was in the car with my parents one day and they were like, so unbothered, did you read that book? You act like it to a T. People all around me, even at school, they would be like, oh, you're so unbothered. Oh, you don't really care, do you? But that was really a front that I was putting on. I actually did really care, but I was faking like I didn't, because it was like showing any emotion. It just felt like I was being vulnerable, and I didn't like the feeling of being vulnerable. Even to this day, I struggle a little bit with being vulnerable. Just growing up, I never really liked tension on me. The only way that I could combat that was faking like I was unbothered, but actually underlyingly very insecure about myself. The journey of my unbotheredness started from me being insecure. It's the first point that I want to make for this video. Self-concept. Self-concept is the most important thing ever in life. If you want to do anything, if you want to be good at anything, you need to establish your self-concept. You need to make sure your self-concept is so high that it touches the universe, that it touches the sky, past the universe. Literally not caring what people think is so important. This was said in the book, The 4 Agreements. You can't live life based on how others expect you to be. If you live life the way people expect you to, or having the personality people expect you to, that's literally you being fake, for one. And second, you're not living, period. Living according to somebody else's expectations is so miserable. Like I said before, growing up, I used to fake being unbothered, and that came from me not wanting attention on myself. I thought having attention on yourself was cringy. Speaking of cringy, one of the keys to being unbothered is literally not caring what people think, being cringy, doing things that are seen as cringy. People are going to say things about you regardless. It doesn't matter what you do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you might as well do what you want. And if what you want to do is seen as cringy, that is totally okay. Be cringy. At least you're being authentic to yourself. Being cringy also goes into your self-concept as well. Again, not caring what people think. The reason why people are so mad at you when you're being cringy, or when you're going out and achieving your goals and your dreams, is because they don't have the courage, or they care too much about what other people think about them to go and do what you're doing. They're jealous of you. Being cringy is literally a superpower. Once you learn to be cringy, you will be able to do anything and everything. Even right now with me doing content creation, by so many people that is seen as cringy, but who cares? Who cares if people think it's cringy? It does not matter. The only reason people see things as cringy is because they're projecting onto you. The way that they grew up, the way that they were raised, their beliefs that were given to them by other people pile up into their own beliefs. Keyword, their own beliefs. Say, for example, somebody says your nose is ugly. You have an ugly nose. Your nose is big. Throughout their life, they probably had an experience where somebody told them, oh, your nose is ugly. So now when they look at people, all they see is their nose. Or even when somebody says that you're pretty, it might be your features that come together that they like. It might be your personality that they like. But it's them. They like it. It's how they perceive you. Now, another person could come up to you and say, oh, you're so ugly. There are different things that they were exposed to growing up that made them like different things. It doesn't matter what you do, how you think, if you agree with somebody, if you don't agree with somebody, if you're this way, if you're that way. Nobody truly cares. Everybody is always projecting onto others how they feel. You should always opt to be your most authentic self. Be yourself. There are always going to be millions of people that don't like you, and there's always going to be millions of people who do. I literally want to do a whole video about this book, but the points in this video it all comes from this book right here. This is the best book I've read in my entire life. Literally, one of the agreements in this book is don't take anything personal. Let me read y'all a quote from the book that I really like. We have the need to be accepted and to be loved by others, but we cannot accept and love ourselves. The more self-love we have, the less we will experience self-abuse. Self-abuse comes from self-rejection, and self-rejection comes from having an image of what it means to be perfect and never measuring up to the ideal. Our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. It's why we don't accept ourselves the way we are, and why we don't accept others the way that they are. Shut up. End quote. What you looking at? Oh, that's what I thought. Can't get nothing done. Don't assume people's opinions about you. You never know what people think about you. Just because somebody is giving you a look doesn't mean they're thinking the worst of you. Just because somebody is smiling at you doesn't mean that they have the best intentions. You know, keep that in mind. Don't make no assumptions about anything as well. So literally, in conclusion, to be unbothered, you need to build up your self-concept so high that it touches the stars. And going off of fixing your self-concept, you'll have the courage to be cringy. When you're willing to be cringy, that means you have the courage to go out and achieve what you want to achieve. That's the third point. People are going to project. What people think of you is their own personal problem. It comes from their own life experiences and things that they were taught, their own self-concept about themselves. That's why they do and say the things that they do to you, because that's how they feel about themselves, and that's the most important thing to them. And 4, nothing is ever personal. People project. Nothing is ever personal. It has to do with them and them only. And 5, be your most authentic self. It doesn't matter if everybody or nobody accepts you. You are at your happiest being who you are. Being authentic to who you are is the ultimate form of being unbothered, not caring what other people think about you. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. I should make a whole separate video about being authentic and self-concept and all of that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about being unbothered. Every time I speak, he says something. Look. This is my first talking. This is my first talking video. I hope the more that I do these, the more comfortable I'll get and the more organized it will get and the more articulate that I can get, because I hope y'all understood what I was trying to say. And I hope this video can help even just one person. Comes from self-rejection, comes from and self. Move, boy. Why you keep speaking? Be quiet. Being cringy is literally, what are you doing? That's when I shut up. Even to this day, I struggle. Shh. If you want to be, what do you want? I swear it's untouchable. You, be quiet. And never could get away from the table. That's another point. Don't assume, don't. That's why we can't. Boy! Image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. Millions of people who do. Don't assume people's opinions about you. Could you not? You just won't shut up. You ain't even saying words. And also remember, it's really not that deep.